Welcome everyone to our exclusive webinar on their latest innovations, the 80 kilowatt high voltage hybrid inverter and BOS-A high voltage battery, along with our esteemed partner, Deye. We are honored to have our speakers for today. First and foremost, Engineer Norman from Nastech.
Hello all, this is Naaman. I'm electrical engineer. I'm with Nastech more than 3 years. I'm speaking Arabic English, so also if we have any customer from Arab country, he has any question or he has anything, I will be happy to help him. And I'm glad to be with you in this webinar with Deye. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Norman. Then our other speaker is Peter from the Deye factory. Peter, please.
Hello guys, I'm Peter, pre-sale engineer from Deye, and I'm here to introduce our company and also our product, mainly about 80 kilowatt and BOS-A today. And in the end, we'll have a QA, and you can ask your questions and we will answer that. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, well, Engineer Norman and Peter will be sharing valuable insights into the advanced technology behind these products, and they can revolutionize energy storage and hybrid power solutions. Me, as of today, the host, my name is Olivia Nambeja. I'm a customer sales representative at Nastech, responsible for the African region. It's a pleasure to have you all here today once again, as we dive into these cutting-edge energy solutions. By the way, before we get started, a quick reminder: at the end of the session, we'll have a question and answer segment. So feel free to send in your questions through the chat portal at any time. Now, without any further ado, I'll hand over to Engineer Norman to introduce Nastech in details. Engineer Norman, please.
Thank you. Hello all again. This is Naaman. I will give you a brief about Nastech. Nastech established in Dubai since 2010. We start in oil and gas business. My manager is second generation from his family. They have a company in Turkey since 1989. So we are talking about 30 years in business. Nastech started also from 2010 in oil and gas. Then we switched, like in Corona time, 2019, 2020, to solar business. So we are in solar business more than 5 years. We have now, as Nastech, we have our main office and our warehouse in Dubai, Jabal Ali Free Zone. Also, we have office and warehouse in Istanbul, and we have office and warehouse in Namibia, Valvish Bay. So our territory is big. We can say whole Africa, whole Middle East, Turkey market plus CIS countries. We are main distributor with many tier 1 brand like Deye. We are with Deye when we start solar business since 2019. So we are with Deye like 5 years main distributor with the Deye. We have also exclusive warranty plus 2 years with any inverter from Deye, because as you know, Deye inverters come with 5 years warranty. We have plus 2 years as Nastech warranty exclusive to Nastech name. You can also see all our contact details. You can, if you have any question or any requirement for Deye product or anything else, you can send to us sales@nastech.ae. I will be more than happy to answer your question and help you on your requirement. I will give the word back to Mr. Peter, so he can start talking about Deye and start the webinar. Please, Peter.
Okay. Let me start share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen now, right?
Yes, Peter.
Okay. So Deye company right now, we have 3 main products about inverters. One is a string inverter from 1 to 136 kilowatt, and hybrid 3 to 80 kilowatt, and micro from 300 to 2.2 kilowatt. This is our main product about inverters right now. And this is the revenue of the Deye shares these years. We have a big growth since 2022, and especially on the inverter part. Now you can see the blue part is the inverter revenue, and now it's took more than half the revenue of the whole group. And here is some offices we have in other countries. We have many offices in the Europe and in the Middle East. Also, we have Lebanon and also in Pakistan. And soon we will also plan to build one in Dubai. And this is some pictures that we have for our R&D laboratories and also for our R&D teams offices. We are here mainly testing about the radiation or other specifications about our inverters. And here is the production line. We will make our own PCB boards in our own factory. And then we will send all the PCB boards and the case we also made ourselves, and we will make the assembling and then go through the test with all these inverters. We will let the inverter go through the agent test to make sure the reliability is okay, and then it's the ATE test to make sure the functional is all okay. And then we'll package them and for shipping. And first, our hybrid inverter, which is also the main product in the inverter products. And now the power range is from 3 to 80 kilowatt. And the switching time for single phase hybrid inverter is only 4 milliseconds. It's the fastest speed in the industry. And it can easily support all your UPS need. You can use your load even when the grid blackout can still be powered without any gap. And three-phase hybrid inverter is 10 milliseconds, but it's also good enough to do the UPS function. And the single-phase hybrid inverter, you can parallel them in 16 units. This is also a leading number in the industry. And for three-phase, it's 10 pieces. But even though you can also build a 800 kilowatt system with our 80K hybrid inverter. And all of our inverter will have a generator application, so you can connect all the generators directly on the hybrid inverter. You don't need any ATS device to do the switching from the grid. And the peak shaving, this means that we have a function that you can decide when to charge and when to discharge your battery, depend on your peak valley electricity price. So you can make profit from the peak valley price. And AC coupling, this means that our hybrid inverter can work together with our micro or string inverter in one system. And your string system can even charge your hybrid inverter battery. And this is the different power selection to different solutions. Like single phase low voltage hybrid inverter is from 3 to 18 kilowatt right now. And the three phase low voltage hybrid inverter is from 3 to 20 kilowatt. And the three phase high voltage maximum is 80 now. And this is what we want to discuss about today. And the appearance of the new 80K will be like this. We cancel the 4 indicators and make it their logo, so it will look nicer, and also showing the information will be more directly by the color. If it's blue, it's normal. Then if it's red, shows the inverter alarming state. And also the screen will be touchable and colorful. You can directly see all the powers. You can monitor from the LCD easily and change the parameters by touching. And the front case, the front cover, you can open it like a refrigerator. It will have a lock on the side. After you unlock it, then you can flip it like a refrigerator. Not like the older series. The older series, you need to unscrew all the screws in the front cover. It will take a lot of time. This one is easier for the after sale and for installation, and also look better. And here we'll be also including some new system, like very small size and very big size. For industrials, for residential, we'll all have new products inside. And the grid peak shaving function, we can use the PV and the battery to supply for your grid peak power, so that your grid consumption can limit it in lower range to lower your grid consumption and lower your electricity bills. And here's some cases for the installation. And these are low voltage solutions. This one, we are using lead acid battery for the low voltage inverter. Actually, it's allowed, but for high voltage inverters, the lead acid battery is not allowed. These are our high voltage solutions with 50K mostly in these pictures. And our string inverter now is from 1 to 136 kilowatt. And we have a solution that you can work your string inverter off grid. And we can use a diesel generator. And with the external ATS device, you can switch to the diesel generator side when the grid is off. And in this case, the meter 2 on the generator side can do the measuring of the generator output, and can also do the zero export just in case the power will feed back to the generator. So we can use a meter to limit the export. And we can also set a minimum output power for the diesel generator, so that the system can work stably. And also we have some pictures for the string inverter cases. And these are the 136K biggest size for now. And then is the micro hybrid inverter solution. With the microinverter size and the feature, it can also connect a battery. You can work it like a small hybrid system. We can also use the wireless meter to do the zero export, because the microinverter will not have the meter connection for the communication, because it needed to have a IP67 waterproof and dusty proof. So we use the wireless solution for the zero export. And the wireless meter can also use to regular microinverters.
Yeah, Peter, can I just chip in here? So in the region, our customers are not very familiar with the balcony solar systems. So maybe they will have a hard time understanding. So imagine a place like Beirut, Lebanon, etc., when you have the apartments and then the roof space are generally used, because it's not a very big space, but there are like 10 apartments, 10 houses in the same apartment. So this solution is exactly for that. So in your balcony, you can put a solar panel, 600 watt, 800 watt, one panel, and then put that system into your balcony, and there is a normal 220 cable that you connect to your normal plug, like a house plug, plus wireless meter, which is using a Deye specific communication protocol called LoRa. It's a very new product in the system. You can also limit zero export to the grid. So this solution will be not needing any rooftop space, and if that rooftop space is already taken and you want your solar for your house in an apartment, this solution will be a perfect solution for those kind of applications. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
then we can continue to the next step. The micro hybrid system. Actually, you can use the regular module to use as a regular microinverter. And when you plug into the upgrade module, you can use it to connect the battery, and then it can be upgraded to a micro hybrid system. And it can still have the IP67 level of the proof level. And it will have also 4 millisecond faster switching. And this is when it use like a base module and a module with a battery. And we also have another solution. It's a all-in-one solution. It can have a battery together with a microinverter. And it's basically same feature as that one, but it's in all-in-one design, and you can see a small screen above. And in that screen, you can monitor some power flow. And you can use 3 work mode for this product. You can use self-consumption mode. You can save your daily production into battery and use in the night. And in economic mode, you can have 6 different time periods to customize for your battery charge and discharge. And the backup mode is you can force charge your battery to 100%, and then you can it will only discharge when the grid is off. And here is a 100 kilowatt system, and it can be maximum parallel to 2 megawatt. And this is the PCS solution. And 215 kilowatt hour battery you can use. This is a BOS-B solution together with the PCS. And the PCS actually you can is a similar function as a hybrid inverter, but it was designed in different sections. And the STS is a 500 kilowatts, so it can be paralleled with 5 PCS together. And each PCS is 100 kilowatt. And you also have an MPPT module. It's 8 MPPT. And you can connect in system like this. We can have a BOS-A solution. It can last for 1.6 hours for backup. And the BOS-B solution, it can last for 2 hours for backup. And here you can connect the DC EV charger, and between the battery and the DC port of the PCS. And for STS, you can parallel four of them together, and each of them will have 5 PCS. So in total, it will become a 2 megawatt system for energy storage. And then is our Deye Cloud. We have our own application and a website that you can monitor your devices for all of our products. And we can also use it to remotely diagnose some after-sale issues. And for firmware update also. And the new AI function and more than 30 languages in the application can be used. And then is the main point of our product in this meeting is a BOS-A battery, and together with our 80 kilowatt inverter. Basically, this combination is like 50K with a BOS-G battery, but they are upgraded to a bigger size, and the inverter casing was changed, and the power rate is higher. For the BOS-A battery, we can have maximum 21 units in series connection. So the system voltage can come up to more than 900 volts. And the inverter can also handle this voltage because the hardware inside is upgraded. And the BOS-A battery can not only fix to our 80K inverter, can also be used to from 30 to 60 also can be used. Just change we can change the case size, the cluster size, and you can have a different voltage solution for the battery. So it's very flexible. For this battery, each unit is 7.68 kilowatt hour, and the nominal voltage is 38 volts for each module. And inside the battery cell, we are using EVE cell, EVE. So it's also a top brand in the battery cells. And the recommended charge and discharge current for one cluster can be maximum 100 amp. And here is the battery module. The battery module will have connectors for the power output and for the series connection. And these are the communication port to the computer, so you can read the battery cell information. And here is also some communication ports. And you can use an inverter. You can use a laptop to write and read the Modbus protocol inside. And two connectors is for the power output of the whole cluster. This is the BMS control box, and some indicators to show the battery cluster working state. The HV light means the inverter means the battery is working normally. And here is also alarm light to show the alarm status. And this is a start button. You need to press the start button, and then the cluster can be started. But before that, you need to close the breaker here. And here is also a series connector for the other cluster to be series connected to the first cluster. So if you look like choose BOS-A, then we will have 4 different methods for the battery. The first one, you can choose 11 layers, and it can be adapted with 10 modules inside. So in total, it's around 380 volts for the whole cluster. And it can work for from 5 to 50 kilowatt from 5 to 50 kilowatt inverters. It can all adapt with. And 14 layers. You can connect 13 modules inside to achieve a higher system voltage. And also the energy is higher. And also you can choose 2 9-layer, and it will be 17 modules in together. This will mostly used for 80 kilowatt solution. 80 kilowatt will be choosing this mode. And the fourth mode mostly used for the PCS solution because it needs a higher voltage and a higher energy backup. And the data sheet of the 80 kilowatt, the battery input voltage range is adjusted from 160 to 800 to 1000 volt right now. So it's 200 volts more than the 50K. And the battery port current is 30 amp higher than the 50 kilowatt. And the battery input is also changed. It's also same as the 50K. It have two individual battery inputs, so you can have two BMS separate connected to the inverter. Maximum you can connect 8 cluster of BOS-A on one input and another 8 cluster to another input. So the energy backup can be very high for the 80K consumption. And the PV input power is usually more than 1.5 times that you can input compared to the rated power. When you input the PV power into the inverter can convert 60K of the power to AC output, and the rest, if there is exceeding, it can charge to your battery from DC to DC, so it will not cause any energy waste unless your battery is already full. And the PV start voltage is 180. And we can connect a panel within 180 to 1000 volts. And the working voltage range will be within the 150 to 850. And each of the each power of this model will have 6 MPPTs, no matter 60K or 80K, they all have 6 MPPTs. And each MPPT will have two string connectors. So you can input 2 string to 1 MPPT. And the PV input current is 70, it's 36, sorry. So it can use 18 amp bigger size panel with the MPPTs. Compared to the 50K, you can connect way more panels than the 50K. And the peak power is 1.5 times of the rated power. So which means as long as your inductive load start power is within the 1.5 times of the rated power, then the inverter can start the inductive load, even in the off-grid scenarios. And the other, basically, it's similar to the 50K, other parameters. And for 80K inverter, the internal design is also similar to the 50K. So if the customer or the distributors, they already sold the 50K, then they can learn how to use the 80K very fast because the design is very similar inside. Like the position for the load port and the grid port and the generator port is all same, and the interfaces is all in the communication board. The position will remain the same as the 50K. And the product size is a little big than the 50K. And also the weight will be a little heavier than the 50K because the hardware inside is increased. And we can provide a pure sine wave 3-phase output. And also many programmable function inside. You can automatically you can decide it's the PV going to the battery first or sell to the load first. It can all be customized, so it's very flexible to use it in a system. It can be adapted with many kind of system, as long as you learned how to how to set all these functions. And when you are using the hybrid inverter in one system, we can have different functions on the generator port. You can connect a diesel generator, or if your scenario don't have a generator, you can also work with a load. It can become an output port. This load will consume your exceed PV power only, so it can increase your PV usage. PV will not sell to the grid first, but will come to the smart load first. You can use like a water heater, so in the daytime the water can be heating, and in nighttime then you can use the water. Or you can use a string inverter to increase the system capacity with a lower cost. So the string inverter can also go through the hybrid bypass to the load, or also can charge your battery. And thank you for listening. This is some details of the ATK and the BOS-A battery, and we will watch an installation video for more details.
I will share my screen.
Thank you, Peter.
No problem.
Welcome to the Deye Inverter teaching video. This video will introduce you to install and use Deye 3-phase high-voltage hybrid inverter and Deye BOS-A battery. Unboxing and inspection. Before you begin the installation, please read the product manual carefully and check the types and quantities of accessories included in the package to ensure they are correct. If there are any issues, please contact your dealer promptly. Prepare for installation. When installing, please select a vertical wall with sufficient load-bearing capacity. Ensure more than 500 mm of sufficient heat dissipation space around the product. It is recommended that the inverter be mounted at eye level for easy viewing and operation of the screen. Mount the inverter. Remove the inverter wall-mounted bracket from the packaging box. Place the bracket at the intended mounting position and ensure it is level. Mark the mounting holes for the bracket on the wall. Drill holes at the marked positions using a 12 mm drill bit. Fix the bracket using the expansion bolts included in the packaging box. Lift the inverter and mount it on the bracket. Inverter mounting completed. Assemble the battery. Before assembling the battery, please first assemble the rack. Install the top beams on both sides of the rack. Secure them with hex head cap screws. Install the bottom beams on both sides of the rack. Secure them with hex head cap screws as well. Install the 4-foot cups at the bottom of the rack. Assemble the diagonal bracing and rack fasteners to complete the rack assembly. Follow the same steps to complete the assembly of the second bracket. The distance between the left and right sides of the support shall not be less than 100 mm. Place the battery modules onto the rack in the correct orientation. The BMS box B port needs to be connected to the B port of the battery module on the top of the second bracket. Parallel cable connecting the battery module. Port B on the battery module at the bottom of the BMS box must be connected to port B+ on the battery module at the bottom of the other side. Connect the battery communication cable. Battery cable connection. Before wiring, please remove the metal cover on the front. Firstly, you need to prepare the battery power cables with appropriate cables. Strip the insulation from the front end of the cables. Use the battery connector accessories included to make the positive and negative cables. Connect the ends of the prepared battery cables to the power line, ports of the inverter and the high voltage control box respectively. Before connecting the inverter battery communication cable, wrap the magnetic ring 4 times. Connect the BMS port of the hybrid inverter to the PC's port on the back of the high voltage control box. Please refer to this table to select the appropriate cables. AC cable connection. The hybrid inverter is designed with load ports, multifunctional gen port and grid ports. When connecting wires, rotate to loosen the sealing cap. This allows the cables to pass through easily. After the wiring is completed, retighten the sealing cap. Connect the AC cables according to the prompts inside the inverter body. A separate AC circuit breaker should be installed between the inverter and the grid. It is also recommended to install an AC circuit breaker between the load or diesel generator and the inverter. PV cable connection. Before connecting, ensure that the DC switch is in the OFF position. Use a multimeter to confirm the voltage and polarity of the PV connector. The voltage should be positive and within the inverter's allowed range. Connect the PV cables to the PV port at the bottom of the inverter. A suitable DC circuit breaker should be installed between the PV and the inverter. Zero export connection. Install the current transformer on the live wire of the grid side and confirm that the direction of the arrow on the current transformer points towards the inverter. Connect the current transformer according to the prompts in the manual. Before connecting a black and white CT cable, wrap the magnetic loop 5 times. Meter connection. There are 2 brands of electricity meters to choose from. The above are the recommended models. Connect the RS485 port of the electricity meter to the meter port of the inverter. Earth connection. In addition to the AC side grounding, it is also recommended to ground the inverter casing separately. The ground holes of the housing should be ground to a separate ground bar. The grounding wire of the battery rack can be led into the inverter grounding bar or grounded separately. Communication connection. Connect the data logger to the inverter. Installation completed. After all cable connections are completed, check to ensure that all cable connections are correct and secure. Replace the metal cover plates that were removed during installation. Power on and commissioning. Use a multimeter to confirm that the PV voltage is within the inverter's allowable range. Then close the PV circuit breaker and open the inverter's DC switch. Close the battery circuit breaker and turn on the battery switch. Confirm the battery voltage range, 160 volts to 1000 volts. Adjust the multimeter to the AC voltage setting. Confirm the grid voltage, 220 volts or 330 volts, 230 volts or 400 volts, and then close the grid side circuit break. Finally, press the inverter's start button. Wait for the inverter screen to light up. Click on the gear icon in the upper right corner of the main interface. Enter the System Settings interface. Click to enter the battery settings page. Select Lithium mode and enter the total battery capacity. Press the arrow to turn the page. Set Lithium mode to 00. Choose the grid setting and frequency for the product's installation region, and scroll down the menu for more detailed information. At this point, your hybrid inverter and battery have been initially set up.
So first question, who provides technical support for Deye in Zambia? We cover Zambia for our partners. So when we work with a partner, like we have a sub-distributor, then they will be at the front voicing the customer. And if there is any warranty issues, our support team, together with the factory team, will solve the problem. And we keep spare parts and spare units in our different warehouses. So then if there is any part replacement or the model replacement, then we will handle that in coordination with our sub-distributor. So just reach us after this meeting, then we can provide you the details you can talk in Zambia. Second question. In Pakistan, Inverex using your brand, they are connected with you. So I'm not sure if this question is to Nastech or to Deye. Inverex, as far as we know, has a long-standing relation with Deye, and all the products are manufactured by Deye. Just the brand, what is called the OEM manufacturing, is showing Inverex, but we don't have the full specs. But as far as we know, those products are 100% made by Deye for the Pakistan market. Now on another question, we have a lot of difficulty parallel stacking Deye hybrid 8 kilo, 12 kilo, and 16 kilowatt. How do you respond to that, Naman?
This is a general question, so we need more details. Like you need to send photos, pictures for how you connect. Maybe the communication cable is not fixed very well. We need to say, in general, we cannot answer like this question. We need to say, see the installation at all, and we can decide what the problem.
Yeah, the thing is that you cannot mix different capacities or single phase and three phase products in the same stack. So if it is single 8 kilo, then it should be single 8 kilo, so on. You can only parallel in a stack the same model inverter. However, if you install one inverter, let's say January 2024, and then you want to add now and you bought a new one, let's say January 2025, then you need to create a ticket with us. Then we will look into the firmware of the old inverter and the new inverter. They have to be also on the same firmware. So then those products has to be connected to the Deye cloud. And of course, if you buy from these products from us, or whoever you bought from should be able to give you the same support. But for our customers, then our team will select the best time. This is generally at night, and we'll push the firmware update to all the online inverters. And then all firmware will come to the same level. So then those inverters can start communicating with each other. Another question, Naman, how do you select system voltage for high voltage systems? I think there is a misunderstanding here. When we say low voltage and high voltage, Naman, do you want to address this?
Yeah. The low voltage system cell, it's depend on the battery battery volt, 48 volt, 51.2 volt DC. So when we say low voltage, the battery volt is 51 volt DC. When we say high voltage, the battery volt start minimum from 160 volt DC up to 800 volt DC, or now also there is a new product more than 800 volt DC. So it's depend on your inverter that you are using. Like for 80 kilo, they just have one high voltage inverter. So for sure you need high voltage battery, and you design the battery capacity depend on your load. For different capacity, like for example 20 kilo, there is low voltage and there is high voltage. So 20 kilo low voltage you can connect with battery low voltage, let's say 200 ampere, 51 volt DC, or you can connect with the high voltage battery POSG start from 20 kilowatt hour up to 61 kilowatt hour.
Okay, thank you. Another question, how much maximum distance allowed between two inverters in parallel connection? Very good question. Of course, you don't want to put them too far away because of the electricity losses. At the end, your output has to be in the same place. But we did one project last year in Africa. It was a holiday, like a resort, like a hotel. And Naman, I think there were 8 different sites, small sites under that project. And this question was a big question. And if I'm not mistaken, the answer was not the physical distance, so it doesn't matter too much from inverter to inverter, but it was the capacity or the limitation of the network cable. And at the time, I think we agreed something like Cat5 or Cat6 network cable is capable of communicating via a distance of 105 meters, if I'm not mistaken. So in very, extreme cases, your limitation will be the network cable's capacity to communicate between two devices rather than physical inverters being in the same room or not, doesn't matter. But we did a project, 8 different small locations it's in Africa. It's not like a typical hotel. It was like lodges, like small, let's say tents, villas, and clustered. So there were like 8 different points with Deye 50 kilo and BOS-G. And at the time that question was answered by the factory, like I answered, the limitation of the network cable. I hope this explains. But if you have any more technical question, this is what we do. We are not a trader. We are coming from an engineering background. So we will look into the data and your project specifications, and our team will help you with the sizing and model selection depending on the project and your requirements.
So now I think we can, Peter, read the question and answer the question.
Yeah, I'll start to answer the questions in the chat. And if you still have more questions, you can always send in here. I will check it.
Sure.
Okay,
Peter, some of the questions we answered when you were away. Maybe we skip to the question, how it works as a UPS, online UPS resolve 9 electric problem. Is your product work the same? Can we replace online UPS by this product? From there, maybe we can continue.
Okay, how to work it at UPS. The UPS function is I can share some pictures to explain together with this. Maybe the PowerPoint can be okay. Wait a minute. So the UPS function, we can refer to this diagram. There is a backup load. It will be connected to our load port. And when the grid is off, the home load that connected on the grid side will be turned off. but the load on the load port can be continue to work, and the switching gap is only 10 milliseconds for the three-phase inverter. So for the load like a computer or the lights can be working normally without any stop. But for inductive load, we need to let the inductive load stop and then restart again, because if we UPS, the inductive load might damage the load because the frequency change.
Okay. So we can say that for the UPS, it depends on the application. If you want to rectify the voltage and the frequency, like in the UPS, as far as I know, there are double conversion, but in the inverter, there is single conversion, which is the IGBT, like the high frequency switching. So they are not exactly the same thing. So reach us out if you have question about your next system, like what is the application, then we'll be able to answer that question in more detail. I think this is enough for the UPS side for this webinar. Next question, when paralleling inverters, can we continue from that question?
It's it's the load connected to a single input. When the inverter are paralleling together, all the inverter load port will be parallel to one output. So it will be single input, as you said. It will not be separate load connection. So the whole system, the whole parallel system will support one set of backup load.
All right. So there is another parallel question and the firmware. We answered that question. So please reach out to your distributor where you bought it. If you bought it from us, reach to us, and then we will be able to provide you the firmware. Firmware is not available to the end users. It is available only via their cloud, and then we will need the serial number of the inverters in parallel, and the firmware will be updated, upgraded, or downgraded depending on the scenario by our team or by your distributor's team. Old inverters, can we still use the Deye Copilot?
The questions?
Can we update existing Deye hybrid inverters with Deye Copilot? So they're asking, like, this artificial intelligence feature, is it available for the old inverters as well, or just for the new series?
It's okay for all the old inverter as well. We have to apply for this function for now. We will have a apply link, and that link later I can share with you, and you can share with customers. And once they apply for it, then they can set it.
Okay, noting down. This is a big question. I also have some questions. String inverters and DG system, this is applicable without any controller. Is it integrated in the inverter? So in your system schematics, Peter, you mentioned that we will need 2 meters and an ATS to make the string inverters work on an off-grid basis. But actually it is not completely off-grid. You still need the generator to provide, like, if the grid fails or down, you still need to have some kind of a microgrid in the battery line, so then the inverter, the string inverter, can still function. So we will need 2 meters plus ATS plus a generator. Is this correct? Diesel generator.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so is the meters, we already know, 3-phase meters that they approved, we will use them. For the ATS, can we get the specification maybe later on? Is there any decided brand and capacity that we can suggest to our customers?
Actually, the brand is we don't have a recommended brand, but also the capacity depend on the generator size and also the system size. But there is one function that the ATS should have. That is once it transfer from the grid side to the generator side, it should have a dry contact output to start the generator. In that case, the generator can be automatically started without manually operation.
Understood. And for the, let's say we have a 125 kilowatt string inverter, one inverter just to make it easy. And what will be the minimum size of the diesel generator to run this system?
This actually depends on the load amount, so the load power. So if you only have a few load, then the minimum generator, like a 10 kilowatt generator or 5 kilowatt generator, as long as it can provide the three-phase voltage for the inverter, then the inverter can start produce. But if your load is a very big amount, like 100 kilowatt, then your generator at least have to cover all your load in case there is no PV.
Noted. So we have 2 meters, big enough diesel generator based on the load, and plus we have an ATS, and with these components we can make the string inverter work on an off-grid environment.
Yeah.
So for that we don't need anything else. The rest is okay, covered.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Next question. Microinverter can work if not grid not available? I'm afraid this is a no. Battery connected with microgrid, hybrid, that is great, yes. So this is the same scenario. Microinverters are nothing but a string inverter. You still need the grid to be available. But if it's a micro hybrid inverter, then Peter, if there is battery, I think the micro hybrid inverter will still continue working. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay, got it. This is a very specific question. Hello guys, can you explain how can I run bakery, pollen rotary rack, oven with solar system? Please drop an email to us. Our team will be more than happy to put a system together, sales@nastech.ae. We will answer that question and we will provide you a quotation with the required components. So another question. This is answered for the CNI. Peter, if we set voltage to 250 volt instead of 850 volt, charging current will remain 80 plus 80 or will it increase? I'm not sure I understand this question.
I think he means that the battery voltage, if it's 250 volt instead of 850 volts, can we increase more than 80 amp current? The answer is no. The 80 amp is maximum limitation. So no matter how high is your battery voltage, the 80 amp is decided. So if you want to reach higher battery power to the 80 kilowatt maximum, you should increase your battery voltage.
All right. So I have a thing to add. We have this question all the time. Now with the 80 kilowatt, today's focus is on the 80 kilowatt and the BOS-A. BOS, everybody calls it BOS, but it is actually beginning of summer, and then A series, G series, B, W series, etc. So 80 kilowatt hybrid inverter, will it only work with BOS-A? Can it work with BOS-G as well, Peter? My question to you. I know the answer, but let's answer this.
We have a product is BOS-G Pro. BOS-G Pro, it can work together with the 80K also, but we recommend that we can use the BOS-A because the BOS-A can easy to expand to a bigger capacity system and very flexible. And also the energy for each module is higher than the BOS-G Pro. And the BOS-A can also adapt with other systems like PCS systems.
Got it. Noted. Thank you so much. Another question, how do you choose system voltage if the voltage ranges from 160 to 800 volt? I think this particular guest, Naman, let's have a Teams meeting with Mr. Geoffrey. I think he has some fun, the principle of that low voltage, high voltage, how that voltage is changing and what is the effect on the system. Maybe we need to explain this in a greater detail because this question is regarding the voltage side, the battery voltage side of the hybrid inverters. It doesn't have any effect on the load side or the PV side. So this is, you don't select that voltage. It is a design criteria of the inverter itself. Another question. Good question. How do you combine 60 kilo low voltage as a PV inverter? Is it a string? Not clear. And 15 kilowatt battery inverter in a mini grid setup?
If you mean string inverter, then it cannot use a battery together. But if you mean a hybrid inverter, then it can be done with the battery.
Can they use the string inverter as the smart load port on the battery side and then connect the 15 kilo?
You mean connect the string inverter to hybrid inverter generator port?
Yeah.
Yeah, if so, if you already have a hybrid inverter with a battery, then you can connect a PV inverter, string inverter to the hybrid inverter on the generator port so that the system can work together.
Any issue with the string side being like 4 times the capacity of the hybrid inverter? Do we need any zero export kind of functionality to limit the string inverter's output into the hybrid inverter in this scenario?
In the string inverter, there is a drop control, so we can control the output frequency to the generator port, and we can use the frequency to control the string inverter output power. So if the production from the string inverter is too high, then we can increase the frequency on the generator port. Then the string inverter can derate, and the power will be limited.
I see. There are one question repeated twice, and the customer is insisting to answer. I think we answered that question. So when paralleling inverters, one second, let me find the original question. For the CNI, they're asking that the output should be again on one output, or if there is a parallel on the CNI, can it be separate? But when paralleling inverter, is the load connected to a single input, or should it be distributed across multiple separate circuits, which you answered? They are asking the same question for a CNI scenario.
Is it when powering inverters? This question.
Yeah.
When powering. Let me find the questions for CNI solution. Different load circuit need for each stack. He mean that for PCS system, right? I think
Well, it's not clear, so maybe we
If it's for PCS system, it's also that we will have a different circuit breaker on different load output of the PCS, because the power is very high. You cannot just use one breaker to all the backup. We will have separate breakers on separate load output. But if it's a hybrid system, like 50K or 80K, it still can be managed by one MCB on the main output. So a little difference in these two scenarios.
See that. Okay, hope that answers the question. Another one, what is the minimum number of batteries that can be installed with a 50 kilo inverter? So that would be 4 pieces of, if it's a BOS-G, 4 pieces, which is 20 kilowatt hour minimum. And the maximum will be, I think 16 in series, I think is 80 plus kilowatt hour. Can hybrid inverters be connected with on-grid inverters? That I think we already answered that question. And what is the minimum capacity that can be installed with the inverters? For example, if the on-grid inverters are 200 kilowatt and we need to use hybrid at night, what we need to do?
Pardon, what's the scenario?
So can you find that question? What is the minimum number of batteries that can be installed? I'm just
I found it, and we are answering the minimum capacity for the installed inverters, right? This question for the minimum capacity of the battery it depends on, if it's high voltage inverter, it depends on the start voltage. So such as the 50K, the start voltage of the battery side is 160, and for 80K it's also 160. So you need at least four pieces of BOS-G battery for 50K, then it can start the system. For BOS-A, it's only 38 volt for each unit. So maybe you need more, like five together, 5 modules together, then you can achieve the start voltage of the inverter. And for low voltage, it's actually depend on your production and the load consumption, how many power you want to storage. Then you can decide how many modules you want to parallel together. And the high voltage, beside the start voltage, also you need to consider your load consumption and production to decide for your energy capacity. And next, for example, if the on-grid inverter are 200 kilowatt.
Yeah, there's the second part.
We need to use hybrid in the night. If the on-grid inverter is 200 kilowatt, and hybrid also should have some PV panel for itself, we need to know that in the daytime how many power can be generally produced. So if it's 200 kilo, and I think your hybrid inverter should be also similar to 200 kilo. So 1 hour you can provide 400 kilowatt hour, and in the daytime maybe multiply with 6 or 7, you will get your general daily production, but not accurate. You can have a refer, like 2,800 kilowatt hour in 1 day you can produce, and minus the load consumption, then is the minus the, you can minus your daily consumption in the daytime only, and the left energy is the energy that you want to storage in your battery. And when the night comes, you can discharge this power from the battery. So you can calculate that number, then you can know how many battery that you need to storage the daily production power that's left. It may be a little complicated, but we also have a system calculator in our website. If you want to do the calculate, you can also do it on our website.
Sure. And you can also reach to us, because that question is very open-ended question. What is the load? How much backup you want? What is the load profile? All these things has to be calculated. And as Peter says, do you have spare solar capacity to feed into the battery through the hybrid? Or you are just going to use that 200 kilowatt, but is it fully utilized or not? So there are many questions. We need to look into that one. So the next question, this is a on-grid again question. My suggestion, maybe we can answer these questions by email later, because the main subject today is the 80 kilo and the BOS-A. There is one very long question, so I'll just pick up some parts of it, because some parts are maybe, Peter, you want to answer. But I also don't know, are Deye inverters compatible with SCADA systems? So in the past, we saw few projects, large projects, asking for especially data extraction, like daily reporting through servers. And they were asking, can you feed this back into a SCADA system, etc. So from the engineering perspective, the answer was not very easy to answer. This off-the-shelf, the wall-type hybrid inverters had only the Deye cloud, and then you have the functionality from the Deye cloud, take the reports, but it's a manual job that doesn't feed into any other system. So with the new generation, especially the STS solution, will there be any connectivity to other control systems in an industrial setting?
You mean for the PCS, right?
Yes.
The PCS, actually, they will have our own EMS system coming up together with this product. It will become one set of solution. But if you want to use another system to control it, it's also open. We will have our registers and explanations, how to write and read the registers and the position for these registers. So this will be customer's job to do. So to do the extraction, it will be a little hard, but depend on the customer's ability to complete this job.
I see. Once the EMS solution is out, maybe then it will be easier to address these questions. Maybe we can do a further webinar once that EMS solution is out, then we can go more technical and look into the system integration and data and control, remote control possibilities with that product and with that solution. So, right, one maybe last question. If we have 9 battery, each one 76 volts, so total voltage is 684. My question is, the voltage of panels is lower than the battery voltage. Can the MPPT of the inverter charge the battery?
Which one is the total?
I think the last, yeah.
If the voltage of panels is lower than the battery voltage, yes, it can charge the battery. This is no problem. Such as if your battery, it depends on the SOC actually. If your SOC is not full, it can always charge with your PV power.
Provided that the startup voltage, the panels are producing higher than the inverter startup voltage. That's the only requirement we need.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Do we have any other questions? Naman, you are too quiet for today.
No, I'm giving Peter the mic to answer all questions. He didn't ask my support to answer the question. So I think we covered most of the question, and we can also. I want to ask Peter to take a promise from him, so we can do another webinar in future to also cover another product from Deye and answer more questions to our customer and our partner.
Yeah, it's okay. Next time I'll make sure my internet is good.
For sure.
Well, Peter, I mean, thank you very much. We are very excited with 80 kilo and BOS-A. But your presentation, I mean, we saw it before, but again, still make us to, listen to you and then learn all this upcoming, like the wireless meter, like the zero export, the LoRa protocol coming up, the hybrid microinverter that you just mentioned a little bit, not into greater detail, and the STS solution. Now you mentioned an EMS coming for greater systems, bigger, larger systems. So I think we can do every other week, every 3 weeks or something like that, another webinar with you till the end of the year. I think you have enough material for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. From my end, thank you so much. Olivia, maybe, yeah.
Well, I would like to thank everybody. Thank you, Peter. Our valued customers and partners, thank you for joining us in this webinar. Yeah, that's it for now. Then we'll say, I think, well done for today, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
One last note. So this webinar recording will be available next week in our YouTube channel, YouTube/Nastech Solar. And the installation video for the BOS-A and the 80 kilowatt will be inside the product pages in both products, 80 and the BOS-A, in our website, so nastechsolar.com. If you go to and find those products, 80 kilo and the BOS-A, inside you will be able to watch the same video. If you have any questions, the ports and etc. will be available. For our partners, we are also able to provide you the users manuals if you haven't ordered or if you haven't used the 80 kilowatt. But as Peter said, it's almost the same as the 50 kilo from the installation and features, functions, the menus perspective. And if anybody needs it, in 2 weeks' time, we will receive the first 80 kilo hybrid inverters into our stock, and we'll be happy to let you guys first use and then give us your feedback. So on the same note, Peter, thank you so much. It was a really informative webinar for us. And thanks, Olivia, arranging it. Thank you, Naman.
Thank you, sir.
And hope to see you in the next one, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for all our customers to joining this webinar. See you soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.